I mean, by all standard measures, you are very successful in your craft, and you're expanding even into coaching and helping other PTs. And I think that that's phenomenal. And you know, you're unlocking a lot of doors of that success. And obviously it's not unearned, because you're in a lot of circles that I know a decent amount of PTs, and most of them are not doing what you're doing. Right. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, he's doing more work. He's getting more output. Maybe a connection here. Right. But I want to talk a little bit about the kind of the evolution from you being in physical therapy, doing physical therapy, and now owning a physical therapy practice that's thriving. I'd like to kind of hear about that evolution in your journey.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely give it a breakdown. In the beginning, with any one of us, like, we're all just technician. We just know the craft. We just know what to do, how to make it work. We're just miserable enough to say, you know what, this ain't it. Like, I'd rather just go suffer and at least try, right? And then the biggest thing is all about changing your identity, right? So the first one, you become the technician, and then you become a technician that actually makes some money. You're like, oh, all right, this is working. This is kind of cool. And then at some point, you become pretty good at what you do, to the point where you're getting busy, but then you realize you're just suddenly time poor. You're like, oh, now I just, got myself a new job, but now I don't have someone to blame except for myself. My old boss sucks, but now I'm my own boss. And this guy sucks too, because I can't take vacation. Because if I take vacation, I don't have any money.
Well, yeah, and he's hard to fire too.
Exactly.
When you're your own boss.
Yeah. So the biggest shift for me was understanding that in order to scale, and again, going back to watching my parents not wanting to scale, because their mindset was always, no one's going to do a better job as me and your dad, which is true. It's not someone else's business, but there are some tasks that is worth letting go. So the first thing for me was like, okay, I'm just going to do the opposite of what my parents did. So it's like, they wouldn't hire someone. I'm going to hire someone, and let's see what that goes. So I end up hiring someone. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. They can do a pretty good job. And then, like, all right, they make some mistake. Okay, let me see if I can help them out with that. And then as I'm going more and more, I just realized, oh, wow, I should have done this a long time ago. So the first step is to actually trust yourself to make good and bad decisions, because you got to give yourself that permission to make bad decisions.
Take risks.
Yeah, that's always taking risks. But again, it's only risky when you know is when you don't know it's bad. So what I mean by that is that if you're just blindly, abdicating tasks and not checking in and think that, oh, this person did a job for 8 months, they know more than me. Not true. Nobody know your business like as well as you do, especially the mission. Right. So my first evolution was just shifting that mindset to just, okay, let's just hire someone to do the job. And then I was in this point, and I think majority of all of us in entrepreneurs stuck in this rut the whole time, where I was a PT who happened to own a business, where I accidentally stumble upon it. I'm like, oh, now I have a business. Now I have payroll. Right. Okay. All right. I'm just going to keep this going. And there was a certain point where we had a certain turmoil within culture, because everything was kind of run as a family-owned business, and there were no system, no structure. I didn't have a roadmap. So the reason I got to where I am today is I actually sought out a lot of help regarding who in my industry that can give me roadmap, just like what you're doing for your audience, for your people, right? You gave me them coaching, but really you gave me the roadmap. Right. Because most people think it's a lead problem. Like they wish it's a lead problem, right? Imagine like if you go and give someone like 10,000 leads, it's like hitting the lotto. It solves your immediate problem, but you can't sustain it. What are you going to do with 10,000 leads if you have no process?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we actually there was an actual example. We had a client that was with us for 18 months, and we had generated 2,284 leads for him. And at the 18th month mark, he was like, hey, I really like you guys, but I'm just not making money in this. We've only done 15 loans in the 18 months. And I'm like, you got 18 months. You have 2,284 leads. I don't know how else to tell you this, but just like you said, you don't have a lead problem. If you give me 2,284 name and numbers from the white pages, I'm going to do at least 16 loans. you know, and then we looked into the system, and then there was, I remember there was one that actually just, it kind of pissed me off and it kind of broke my heart. There was one dude who had said, you know, it was responding to one of our automated messages, and he had said, yes, we are interested and we're looking to buy in the next month or so. We have a little over 20,000 saved already, and we got about a 720 FICO. Now, by most measures, I can find a house for that person. Mm-hmm. No response. Nothing. And it's like, of course you didn't do more than 15 loans in a year and a half. Like, who's making the calls? Who's actually originating the loans? Like, you know, that I can't do that for you. And if I could, that's a dangerous precedent, by the way, because the moment you're not doing that, you don't have a job. Like, especially in an industry that's relatively commoditized, a loan's a loan to the consumer, right? The only differentiating factor is the person, the relationship. So if you're like, about the relationship, you're about the money. Like, then it ain't going to come to you, you know? And so that was an interesting thing. And so it sounds like that's even an issue in your world that you see, as far as like, you know, generating leads and them kind of just becoming nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's any business, right? Like in my world, yeah, lead acquisition is a huge thing, but then what you do with the leads is another problem, right? And then fulfillment is also another thing. The one point I want to make is that I don't do physical therapy, right? I do transformation. That's what I call my clinic. It's a transformation center. Someone happened to come in, they're injured. That's their self-identity. And it's our job to figure out what's the identity before they got injured and then transform them back to who they were before.
I like that.
That's how you have to look at it, because no one needs a loan, right? They want a home, just like no one wants a hammer. Right. They want to do something with the hammer. Yeah. So you got to go beyond that. Because if you're playing small ball and you're thinking small, that I'm just giving people a loan, like you'll lose right there. Like people really come for the loan, but they stay for the relationship. Yeah. And to me, leads is an opportunity to build rapport with that person. Right. Let's look at it this way. Let's be really kind of like dark for a little bit. If we think about how many days we have left to live on this earth, what kind of impact do you want to make? Right. And if you were giving 100 people that you don't know, that you could impact them in a positive level, right? Giving what you do, aka giving them loans, how would you want to serve them? How would you want to do it where those people might invite you to Thanksgiving dinner, right? Like my job is like, either when they come to my world, they either not respond to me, say, don't talk to me ever again, you're not for me, or, hey, why don't you come over for Thanksgiving? Yeah. That's our matrix of success.
No, I mean, that's huge. Well, and one of the things that I often coach on is, you know, the real job as an entrepreneur is following the bottleneck in your business, right? Because it's like, okay, well, there's a point where we all do have a lead problem, but the moment you have leads, you don't have a lead problem. Now you have a sales problem. Now you might not have the egoic flexibility to acknowledge that, because for most people in sales professions, mortgage being one. I mean, honestly, anything that involves a phone's one, right? So even you guys closing patients is one, but like, it's hard for a lot of people to go, I need to get better at selling. Like a lot of people struggle with that, right? It's the same reason for call reluctance. It's like, well, if you were looking at it from a growth opportunity, it's not so bad. But if you're looking at it like, I have to confront something, I have to like, because people create this, I'm good at sales. I know what I'm doing. I know how to sell. Well, if you know how to sell, then why is your bank account like lacking commas? Right? It's like, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Let's look at it. There's an area for opportunity here, right? That's not to throw shade. It's just like, you know, you can't have results and excuses. Like one repels the other, right? So if you want to choose success, understand that you can't have excuses. If you want to have excuses, understand you can't have success. Like they are mutually exclusive. And so, you know, when you have leads, you don't have a lead problem. And then when you start making sales, what, you know, ends up happening is now the bottleneck shifts. You have a fulfillment issue, because now you're all of a sudden hitting records in sales and your team's going, what the hell? We don't got the time for this. Well, now we got to hire people to be able to process more loans or to be able to do more therapy in your situation. Right. And it's like, and then the bottleneck shifts, right? And so the bottleneck's never gone. It's just, where's it at today? And it's ever moving. And so real entrepreneurs, real successful business owners that I've seen, have almost a sixth sense ability to predict, you know, like how a hockey player is not looking for where the puck's at, but where it's going. Where's the bottleneck going to be next, right? And they're able to kind of anticipate and be there. And so they get speed, and that speed transfers into profit.